Today on In the Wood Yard, we're gonna split a big chunk of wood, and we're gonna use these. Old school. Here we go. So today we're gonna do an old school method that my dad taught me. Now, I have never done this myself, but my dad told me about this, and this is something that some of you might be able to use if you don't have a firewood processor, or if you don't have a wood splitter, or if you don't wanna split firewood by hand, the old-fashioned way, where you got to swing a splitting mower and axe really hard. The reason this works is because it doesn't take a lot of energy or a lot of effort. It's a little slower, but it does work. So we're going to show you. Now, first thing I'm going to show you is this thing right here. I got a wedge with my name on it. Look at that. I got it from Firewood Maniac from Maine. He sent this to me. Now, he told me this is more of an ornamental or a just kind of a pretty thing, that is more of a like a paperweight to be set on a desk and admired. But I like using stuff. He told me this is not made out of the high grade aluminum that would stand up to a lot of whacking, but I want to use it, so we're going to use it today. But I also have this wedge, and I also have this wedge, and what we're going to do is we are going to cut with this little bitty chainsaw, this 540 XP. We're going to cut this big, huge hunkin' piece of wood here. I'll show you what I got. So I'll show you what I got here. This is a big one here. If you can see my hand, it's a pretty dang big chunk of wood. This is probably 24 inches, and I got a little bitty, I think it's an 18-inch bar on this, but I think I can get around it enough that I can get a couple rounds off of this, and we're going to try to split it. So we're going to see what happens. Now, I think this looks like elm maybe. It'll be difficult no matter how we do it, but we're going to give it a try. So this is a technique where you don't really use the wedges into the end grain. What we're going to do is we're going to rip a little bit across the actual side of it like you would with a big chainsaw if you're trying to rip it in half. But instead of cutting all the way through, we're only going to cut a little bit, and then we're going to put the wedge in to the slot, and then we're going to pound it down and see if we can pop it that way. So this will be interesting, so let's give it a go. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take this itty bitty baby tiny weeny chainsaw, which I do like for limit. It's a nice saw, it's real light, and we're going to cut this, and hopefully I can get through it. I'll probably have to cut this side and around and kind of work on it, because this is like a 24-inch chunk here on the end. And then we're going to do a little rip on it, and we're going to drive the wedge into it and see if we can pop it apart. If this is elm, which it almost looks like elm bark too though. Here we go, it's time to do some cutting. Oh, it's just barely hanging on there. So look at that, that's all it's holding is that little tiny bit down there. I just can't quite reach it with that little bar. Aha! Success! Oh, I got it off. Bad news is, besides that was ridiculously long, is this piece, the center core on it is split loose from it. So this is not going to split like I thought. Take a look at this. If you guys can see, this whole center thing is gone, so it's not going to split very well. But we'll give it a try and see what happens. Okay, so the theory is if I cut this a little bit here, put the wedges in, I will be able to split it. So let's give it a try. So I did a little rip on it. Would have been nice if the chainsaw was a little sharper. It's not very sharp, but let's give this a try and see what happens. Now I don't think it's going to split all the way because its center is separated. That's what I was afraid of. Take a look at this. I'll show you what happened. It would have split, but because this is separate here, it's not going all the way through, but it is cracking down on the bottom there. So I drove the wedge in a little bit. I'm going to roll it over. Maybe. Come on, go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another little cut here, and that should just pop it apart then. So that's what we're going to do. So as you can see, it did get popped apart. I forgot to turn record on the camera, but I did have a little frame here I can show you so that I did get it apart. Wasn't easy, but it worked. On to the next one. Might not be able to get through that one either. Got to get a bigger saw. So I went and got a bigger saw. I got my 24-inch 572 with a 24-inch bar. You can see the length of the difference in the bars. And I started the saw up and I cut maybe 2 inches and it fell right off. So I forgot to turn the camera on, but all that was holding it was just this little bit right back here and I cut it. So now this one's a nice clean one, as you can see on the end here. This one we should be able to split all the way through by just making that little cut. And I'm still going to use the little saw just to demonstrate how if you got a little weenie saw, you can do it. So you can see how clean that one is. That's a good one. Let's give that a try. So there, all I cut down was, I don't know, what is there, that 3 inches or so. So now we'll grab the wedge. We'll try this single one here first, because I think it's a better one. And grab my splitting maul. So now, this one should split just fine. We'll find out what happens here. Again, I'm just tapping lightly. And it's going in, just like my dad said. He says, you don't have to hit it hard. He says, just keep tapping on it. And we will find out. I think this is a piece of box elder. I'm not sure. I think that's what it is. I'm hitting it harder because it's starting to fight me. Oh, she's starting to go. I can see the crack on this side. I think you guys should be able to see it too. I'm just tapping again here. Well, got the wedge as far as she'll go. So that's not working so good. I chose poorly again on the wood. But you can see it's cracked all the way down there. I'm gonna grab the other wedge and put that one in too. This wedge I got in here is not a very wide one. This one's a little wider, so I'll see what happens. She's bouncing. Let's take this one out. Yeah, I think I did it. Nasty crap wood. That's what this was. Look at that. There, okay. It was a success, but not a great success. It worked. It was a lot more work than it needed to be, which is how it goes sometimes. Now, I thought, yeah, this is the reason this split so hard. This is cottonwood. I thought it looked like a piece of maple. It was cottonwood because it's a big one, but I can smell it. It smells like crap. Okay, we're gonna try a different kind of wood this time. There you go, a nice pretty split. So as you can see, it did work. Right here's where I cut to here and then it split down. It was a lot of work. I'm breathing heavy and I'm sweating. In my opinion, use the chainsaw. Let the saw do the work. But this works. So I'm gonna try a different kind of wood that might split a little easier. I see there's some elm there. I ain't trying that because that's Satan wood. Okay, so this time we're gonna take the baby saw and we're gonna take a piece of oak here. We're gonna give it a try. I think this is small enough and it's in the corner here. I should be able to get this cut and we can split it. So let's give this one a try. See what happens here. I got it. Yeah, that's all that saw could do as far as size, which is why you want a bigger saw for cutting anything big. Now, if you're cutting small stuff, like say this one here, something like this little saw would be just fine. But anything bigger than probably 8 inches, it's just too much because there's a lot to cut there. But there she is. It's a pretty nice solid piece. So normally I would just take an axe and I would pop this apart, but we're going to do the same technique and just kind of show what we can do. Okay, so we're going to throw this chunk on its side. We're going to rip it a little bit. We're going to do the wedge thing. So let's see what happens here. Get you guys in closer so you can watch the action. There, we got about the width of the saw blade. It's about maybe 3 inches or so. We're going to take this wedge and we're going to do some tapping. Let's just see what happens. Again, I'm just going to hit it lightly, just basically picking it up and letting it fall. This will split easy because red oak splits really well. Only thing we could do to make this better is if it was 20 below, it should pop right apart. Let's turn this so you guys can see it because she's starting to pop. I can hear it. Let's go this way. You'll see it start to split here eventually, I think. I think you guys are low enough. How's that? Is that better? Oh, yeah. That's good. All right. She's popping apart nicely. Just a few little strings in there. There we go. Give this a little pry. There she is. Popped apart, so it works. The wedge works. Okay, we're gonna do one more with a different chunk. And we're gonna use the new aluminum wedge that I got from Firewood Maniac from Maine. So, you know, that's the proper size, nothing bigger than that for this saw. Cut just fine, not real fast, but it cut pretty good. So now again, like I said, this is just for demonstration. Normally I would just pop this with a splitting axe or splitting maul, or, you know, the Fiskars X27, which I really like. That's what I would use, or better yet, on my splitter. But just for demonstration, we're gonna rip this a little and pop it apart with the wedge. Yeah, I just cut, I don't know, maybe an inch and a half. So we're gonna give this a try. And again, this is not fast, but if it's all you got, it would work. So if you can't swing an axe, you got all day, look at that. Popped it right apart. Not too shabby. It works. So in the last one, I forgot to use my fancy schmancy Firewood Maniac aluminum wedge. So I cut another piece, and now we're gonna do a little rip on it, and then we're gonna use the aluminum one to do the split. So we're gonna give that a try. All right, here we go. We're gonna use the custom-made Firewood Maniac wedge. See what happens here. Look at that. She popped it. It's apart. So there it is, she popped it apart. The Firewood Maniac wedge comes through with flying colors. Made a few dents on it, but now it's got some character. There she is. So we did split this one. We kind of split this one with a little extra help. And then these over here, I also split the red oak. And you can see there's the halves that are on the ground here. And there's the little bitty baby chainsaw, which is kind of nice for limbing, but it's not for ripping. And then the wedges. And so what I decided to do while I was working up a sweat doing this, because it wasn't nearly as easy as I thought it was going to be, which is how cutting firewood generally goes. It's always more work than you think. I'm going to do this the right way and have the right tools for the right job. So if you don't have a splitter, and if you don't have a splitting axe or a splitting maul, yes, you can do it this way. You can use a wedge and pop them apart. Saw this in my mouth. The old-fashioned way. When I was a kid, my brothers and I would split wood for my dad because we heated with wood, and we split elm with a railroad hammer, which, if you know what those are, they're real small ends and they're kind of a longer head on them, and a couple of old, nasty, mashed up, terrible wedges. And we split a lot of wood. We heated with wood. We had no splitter. We were the splitters. So that's how we split our wood. But that was bad. This is the proper way to do it. I'm going to take the right tool, the X27, the Fiskars. I'm going to take this 2500 Husqvarna splitting axe, and we're going to pop these apart and show you how much easier it is just to hit it. So the first one I'm going to use is going to be the Husqvarna, and then we're going to use the Fiskars. I know they're competitors, but they both work, and I like them both. This is a very nice splitting axe. It's 2,500, so I think it's 3 pounds, 2.5 pounds, something like that. 2,500 is the gram, I believe. But yeah, and I hit way harder than I had. It wasn't even that hard. We're gonna split this one in half. That's the right way to do it. Okay, let's give the fist guards a chance. Let's try this one over here. Yeah, no problem. That's the way it's supposed to be done. The right tool for the right job, or the right job for the right tool, however you want to say it. This oak does split nicely though, I gotta say. Let's throw this one over here. It's the way it's supposed to go. Let's split these down one more, just because I got the axe out and I can split them. Oh, don't fall over on me. I like doing this. I wish my body would let me do it more because I love splitting wood. It's great exercise. You can see what you've done at the end of the job. It's just fun. If you never split wood before, you haven't lived. I think those all look pretty good. Nice size splits. Don't need to be any smaller than that. I'm just gonna throw them over here and we'll pick them up another day. And then we're gonna use the best machine, or the best tool I should say, for the job. This is the old school way. The new school way is right behind the camera. So using these bad boys is the way to go. That's how to do it fast. My dad's idea. I don't think I'll be doing that ever again. But if you're ever in a pickle and you gotta split some wood and all you got is a wedge and a maul, it'll work. This is the right tool for the job right here. Put the logs in, sit in a chair and run it. And very soon we're gonna start this bad boy up because we've got this pile to do, we've got that pile to do, we got that pile to do, and there's another pile behind it that's the same size, all of red oak. There it is, a whole nother pile. Waiting, just waiting to be cut and split and put in a bin. That's it for today, folks. Come on back tomorrow, 5:30 a.m. I'll have another video for you. If you can't wait that long, I got 1,300 videos on my channel waiting for you to watch right now. Good night, everybody.